In the dank depths of an ancient temple where shadows coil like living things, she stands. A priestess draped in darkness, her serpentine form woven with dread. She is the Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker, a vessel of terror. As a whole, the Yuan-ti usually inhabit the deepest tropical jungles, making a home in ancient ruins that date back millennia. These lost places provide a warm, humid sanctuary that agrees with Yuan-ti's biology, providing them with the perfect environment for nurturing the continued growth of their species, all while they plot to enact their ultimate goal of restoring their once glorious empire to its zenith, and of course, rising up to godhood in the process. In part, this is where the Yuan-ti Nightmare Speakers come in. Almost always female, but always a creature of subtle horror, this Malison, or half-blood Yuan-ti, is both a priestess and prophetess of Dendar, the Night Serpent. Nightmare Speakers act as a conduit between their god and the people of their clans, spreading holy propaganda and gospel as one akin to the other. Dendar is an ancient primordial, and is what gives the Nightmare Speaker her devilish powers, allowing her to utilize gifts that are only usually accessible to warlocks with a powerful patron. In this case, Dendar delivers, granting her Nightmare Speakers the unnatural power of the Void in exchange for unrelenting servitude, which her devout followers are more than happy to oblige. Utilizing Dendar's umbral gifts, these serpentine conduits interpret her nightmarish visions as auguries of a future yet to come, and delight in molding them into reality. Cruelty is both craft and devotion to a Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker. Torture and fear are her instruments. Prisoners and slaves, mere pawns to be broken, their anguish and suffering fueling Dendar, each howl and wail cementing the Nightmare Speaker responsible further into the graces of their Dark Lady, who in turn promises even more power and access to yet darker gifts. Something any good Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker just absolutely cannot pass up. This of course means that the Yuan-ti Nightmare Speakers actively seek out individuals that they can use for their nefarious rituals, often targeting those weak of mind and soul, those who will provide the most succulent psychic screams to feed Dendar. On the flip side, they will actively avoid those who are strong of mind and soul, as while they may enjoy the chase that leads to the breaking of one's psyche, a creature that is too resistant could in fact lead the Nightmare Speaker to fall behind its peers in terms of Dendar's favour, and that is not something that can be allowed to happen. A particularly ambitious Nightmare Speaker may have a more emotionally resistant subject as a side project, but it is unlikely that they will ever be the true focus of the Yuan-ti's torturous favour, which is arguably worse, as at least those that fall under the full concentration of a Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker's efforts tend not to hang around the mortal coil for too long, and a side project could be subject to the same kind of experience, just over a much longer, more drawn-out period of time. Anyway, torture and mind terrors aside, let's talk about what powers the ever-kind Dendar, and the gifts that she tends to give to her serpentine subjects. Well, to start with, a Nightmare Speaker's form is mutable, allowing her to polymorph at will into a medium or smaller serpent, and then back again, as smooth and silent as a whisper. She is well attuned to both forms, and can use them interchangeably, being well at home dressed in either skin. She is also immune to poison, resistant to magic, and ever watchful in the shadows with her dark vision. While these are not intrinsically linked to Dendar, the Night Serpent would likely try and take credit for them anyway. This next one, however, has Dendar's elegance written all over it. A Nightmare Speaker's magical bond to Dendar grants her the Devil's Sight ability, a power that allows the Yuan-ti to see through even the most magical of darkness, which she can use with vicious effect when combined with the aptly named Darkness spell. This potent combination allows the Nightmare Speaker to catch her opponents well and truly off guard, completely removing their often primary source of vision, all while being completely and utterly aware of her targets as they stumble and fumble through her fabricated magical darkness. This is excellent, as the Nightmare Speaker can use this dastardly trick to sneak up on foes with ease, where she can then slash and strike away with a number of brutal attacks. In combat, the Nightmare Speaker wields blade and coil with fluid grace. Her scimitar slices, her lower body constricts, grappling foes in a suffocating embrace. These attacks provide utility on the battlefield, with the 10-foot reach of her coil attack proving deadly to those unable to avoid or escape. Her battle tactic here is simple: constrict and remove her target from their usually optimal 5-foot reach, only to then suspend them at bay while she peppers them with her arguably most lethal armament, the devastating spectral fangs. These strikes are lethal and punish at deadly range. The Nightmare Speaker showers her foe with spectral fangs from a distance of 120 feet, using a multi-attack to make 2 attacks per round. This range is absolutely lethal, especially for her reported CR level of 4, and any adventurer seeking to engage with a Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker should be prepared to deal with a hail of necrotically enhanced knives flying at them, well before they even become aware that a threat exists. These fangs deal a staggering 3d8 plus 3 points of necrotic damage, reinforcing the lethality of these attacks. Just a couple of good hits can be enough to down the most stalwart of fighters, so best keep your head on a swivel and always take a healer with you into the darkest jungles of the world. And this isn't even the worst of it. Herein lies her true power, Invoke Nightmare. Within 60 feet, the Nightmare Speaker conjures an illusion of a creature's deepest, darkest fear. Immobile, ethereal, and visible only to the victim. The target must resist with an intelligence saving throw. Upon a failure, they suffer 4d10 points of psychic damage, become paralyzed by terror, burdened by the frightened condition, totally and utterly convinced that the Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker's conjured illusion is real. She must concentrate to maintain this visceral illusion, sustaining the horror for up to 1 minute. At the end of each turn, a victim can fight for clarity, rolling another intelligence saving throw. A success breaks the effect, while a failure drives the inflicted into yet further agony as the phantom drives psychic spikes through the victim's mind, inflicting 2d10 points of psychic damage and reinforcing the frightened condition. This alone can be enough to cripple an opponent, which can then be peppered with spectral fangs and enclosed in magical darkness, creating a real smorgasbord of horror that can make the Nightmare Speaker a true terror to battle against. Within Yuan-ti society, she is a dreaded priestess. She worships Dendar through horror, weaving nightmares into the fabric of the world. Her temples are bastions of trepidation, haunted by the undead and serpentine monstrosities alike. She manipulates communities, preys upon mortal fear, and harvests the nightmares of innocence. In the Yuan-ti Nightmare Speaker, fear becomes prophecy, wrapped in serpentine coils, guided by Dendar's whispers. She is both harbinger and manifestation of nightmares.